can always find me in the basement of my mother's house playing video games. People like me like our games difficult and unforgiving. Most were from small companies made on the cheap. Others were classy models with A talent. But they all had one thing in common. They lived on the edge, told stories about life out of this world. Slimy characters, crooked scientists, twisted plots, and bad luck. The Japanese invented a name for these video games. Famicom cartridges. Nintendo Entertainment System games. That's what they called them. They were on a darker side of gaming, a masochistic side. This one was no different. She walked into my life like a lioness walked up on its unsuspecting prey. Her name was BattleToads. The only thought rattling around in my head was, what kind of mess am I about to get myself into? Also, who replaced all my cigars with chocolate? That is pretty good, actually.
Hey everyone, my name's Logan, aka the barbaric Bluebarian, and I'm joined on this show with my buddy Marcy, aka...
the magical tinge of color Tingerene.
What? Here on the show I review video games, so feel free to suggest things. But this last game was a tough suggestion. This was a doozy. It was a very difficult game, and I have very little to show for it. But please join me on an adventure into difficult NES games with the game from the company Rare, BattleToads. It's right over here. Just join me over here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. This game's about 3 super mutant anthropomorphic toads, named Rash, Zitz, and Pimples.
Ew.
The story begins with Pimples cruising through space with the princess, and the evil Dark Queen kidnaps them and takes them to a nearby planet. The remaining heroes, Rash and Zitz,
Ew.
led by a vulture scientist, follow their brothers in arms. Upon landing on the planet, the toads take on everything the Dark Queen has to throw at them, which is in fact quite a bit. Is this seriously the story? Was everyone in the 80s and 90s, like, in a fever dream? Or on drugs?
Speaking of fever dream, and or drugs.
Yeah, there was a show. Well, there was a pilot to a show that crashed real hard. I guess people didn't appreciate amazing writing like this.
Attention, people of Earth, for the crime of harboring the BattleToads, I, the Dark Queen, shall now destroy your planet! Oh no! It's headed towards the ball!
Plus, it doesn't help that this was just another company trying to get a piece of the Ninja Turtles pizza pie. Like, trying really hard. They were the same people that made Street Sharks and Extreme Dinosaurs. But we're not here to talk about the show, so let's jump right into that gameplay. Man oh man, this game was hard as nails. You jump in at a comfortable level of difficulty, sure. In fact, it reminds me a lot of Golden Axe or TMNT.
I'm starting to see a trend with this whole turtles thing.
I like turtles.
This game has a lot of variety in the gameplay, however most of it is a beat-em-up. As in, your hitbox is unaffected when an enemy is just touching you. Rather, the enemy has to swing to hit you. You have 2 buttons other than the D-pad to work with. Jump and punch. But check this out. If you double tap the D-pad, then punch, you either charge or do a finisher hit. Either way, you transform yourself for a second and you look nuts. Though as I mentioned, this game throws a lot of different gameplay your way, so you gotta learn quickly. Fast-paced platforming and surfing. There's a well-known moment of this game when it begins to get far too difficult. I can only begin to describe this moment of the game as one of the 7 layers of hell.
But after a while, I started to like it.
The dreaded turbo bike stage. In this stage, you gotta avoid everything. If you get hit once, you're dead, and you gotta try again at the checkpoint. But be careful, because there are game overs. So pretty much it becomes a memory and reflex game. If you can get past this level, don't expect things to get much easier though. Playing 2-player is an option of this game, but that doesn't make life easier for you. This game does have friendly fire, and friend's death on the turbo bike stage means your death too. If you can manage to train your reflexes and memory skills with a friend without getting frustrated towards them, you two are gods among men. However, I am not. But that's pretty much it. Side-scrolling beat-em-up with intense platforming, sprinkled in bosses here and there, and blood-boilingly fast turbo bikes and surfing.
Too easy.
The graphics are damn good for the NES. Aesthetically though, it can go either way. I personally think the character designs are pretty cool. As I mentioned, I think the shape-shifting is damn sweet. Also, most of the levels look pretty vibrant. Though the turbo bike stage definitely falls short, for me anyways. I get serious motion sickness when I look at the background. Also, I die.
Oh wow, that background's moving really fast. Oh, well, I died again, okay.
I gotta be pretty clear about this. The music is awesome. However, you'll probably get sick of all of the tracks when you repeat the stages over and over as you slowly memorize the game. But I can't deny how catchy these jams are.
Shh! Quit talking! You're gonna ruin, like, the best part of the song!
In desperation, I looked up tips and tricks to this game and discovered you can get extra lives in the main menu. To do this, you hold down A, B, down on the D-pad, and press start. And boom, you got 2 extra lives. And in this game, even 2 are precious. Another good way to gain lives is through gaining points. If you get enough points, you gain a 1-up, and the second stage is fantastic for doing this. As you descend deeper into the level, you can juggle these birds, which give you more and more points as you hit them. Keep in mind though, the game only shows you 5 of the lives you have. It does actually keep track of more. Another pretty good thing to be aware of are warps. Oh, thank God for you, warps. Blessings be upon you. For me, at least, there was really only one warp I used, and that was the one I found by mistake. At the end of the turbo bike stage, Rare was basically like,
They've made it this far? Launch the remaining walls at them. Do it! Do it now!
You somehow have to avoid 16 or so walls that fly by faster and faster. This part's just horrendous. It really ruined every one of my days when I tried to beat this. But as I was flying by these walls, I noticed something sparkling in front of one of them. So I decided, why not? I counted to see how far down the line it was, which I believe it was just before the 8th or the 9th wall. And... finally, some beat-em-up stages. Ah, shit! Now this section is typically reserved for outlandish and otherwise unproven things in gaming. I have a few theories that actually aren't that crazy at all. So let's just re-roll that chapter marker. Theory number 1? I feel this game was actually good at one point. I'm not exactly saying it's bad now, however people only have a love-hate relationship with it nowadays. It's seen as that game, you know, the one with the turbo bike stage. As a society today, we've gotten used to fast-paced and forgiving games because very generally speaking, it should be that way. Basically, games should be something you have fun with. It all comes down to that in the end. Challenges can be fun, but there is one major flaw with the challenge of this game. It has game overs. People love Super Meat Boy and VVVVV.
Hold the phone. What's the name of that last game again?
VVVVV?
VVVVVVV.
Well, Super Meat Boy and VVVVV are loved games because of their excessive challenge. But if those games had game overs that would make you start from the beginning, they would be in the same sinking boat as BattleToads. Good games, but not accessible to most people. If instead of game overs you continue to respawn at the beginning of the stage, people would adore this game. But why did they choose to make this game so hard? Well, as I said in the intro sketch, NES games were tough. They were from a different era, a time when families didn't own multiple systems or a computer, when only a game or two would tide someone over for months on end. So the games were often hard. The good ones were. It kept people occupied. Stage memorization and honing your muscle memory are fine elements to have in a game. It's just a shame that BattleToads punishes you so drastically for not learning these elements inhumanly fast. So close, yet so far from perfect. This game was definitely a fun change of pace from my normal go-to of RPGs or character action games. So I definitely appreciate being turned on to this game, but man, those game overs are pretty game-breaking. I have yet to beat this game, and this is probably one of the very few games on this show that I'm willing to not complete before forming an opinion on it for the review. But every time I sit and play, I just get a little bit further, which is actually pretty interesting that I'm still playing this game, despite the game being so punishing. Sure, it gets my blood boiling, but it's pretty fun just to see how far I can get. So I suppose with that, this game is playable, and I'd go so far as to say I'd suggest giving it a try. So with that, folks, I give this game a...
Yeah, it's pretty good. Probably wouldn't have played it if it weren't for the show, but yeah, I don't mind it. I don't know, like maybe 5 grimaces out of 10 or something.
Hey, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch eventually. I don't know, just type in a website /Bluebarian, you'll probably find me. Man, I gotta recharge my batteries. I need to go on a little vacation or something. Actually, I went on vacation recently. It was a lot of fun.